Hello guys, welcome to IntIt Solutions. Today's topic is information technology in various sectors. The information technology uses in different sectors, that is IT BPO industries, and then it's for rural development, and it is in e-commerce sites and e-commerce businesses and manufacturing units, then e-governance. Before enter to that, let's see some small part of introduction. Why the information technology is. We have a doubt. Is IT special in theory? Yes, of course, it is in special in theory. Why? Because in earlier days, the different peoples are doing every task in manually, right? But in digital era, everything is digitalized. Even a money transaction also is digitalized, right? So the IT is special in theory. Now, or is IT just a dynamic sector of times? Let's find the answers for these questions. Now, let's see. IT in growth models. As sector amenable to developing dynamic corporative advantage. IT as a general purpose technology like pervasiveness, technological dynamism, innovational complementarities. The complementarities are two types of complementarities. One is horizontal and vertical. Now, IT and information means the information is a raw fact, right? The IT information technology is nothing but by using that information, how the information transfer from one to another, or by using that information, how can you do the processes in real time. Let's see. It reduces the transaction costs, improve market efficiency, improve government efficiency, and improve intra-firm resource allocation. Let's see. IT and innovations means the innovative ideas to produce different types of technologies in IT department is very high. That's combinatorics and feedback loops. Now let's see the falling costs of computing from 1970 to 2012. Let's take this one. And now in 1970s, we need to invest 7601 US dollars to compute 1 megahertz processors. The same point of time, if you want to store 1 megabit storage, we need to invest 5257 US dollars. Then 1 trillion bits sent from one location to another location, need to invest 1,50,000 rupees, US dollars, right? In 1999, the cost is reduced to 0.12 to 0.17. At 2020, it's less than 0.01. You are seeing the difference, right? The cost of computing is reduced from day by day. Let's get into the topic, the IT in various sectors. One is IT BPO industry. Now, the industry components are software services and products. About a product in the sense just you are defining something and you are creating some new one. And then what is the service? For that product, we are providing some services, right? For the software, there are two types of things. Is there one is services and products, right? Now, next one is business process outsourcing, means by IT enabled servicing, people are also doing very well nowadays. Now, hardware resources are required to establish industry, right? Now, and then these stories are so far for rapid growth, upgrading the industry, and then diversification and positive spillovers. There are different types of spillovers from a software to BPO and ITES, or a software into a higher education, the IT into higher education, and then IT for to get a national reputations of the company. Then the attitude and goals and expectations of the company we need to decide that. And then other sectors, the manufacturing sector also using the IT nowadays. Now, the individuals also working with IT technology like a freelancers. What it? Now, now the next sector is a rural development. You know, in India, the rural development is still rural areas are still in developing state. Now let's see, is IT a luxury one or not? No, the IT is not a luxury one. It's just software and it's just technology to apply to any applications. Right now, the rapid long distance communications are necessary. Of course, the nutrition, health, sanitation, housing, basic education are higher priorities. Yes, by using IT, you can develop the education system also. Right now, IT can play enabling role to reduce transactional costs and to reduce production costs and improve allocative efficiency. How well have Indian efforts worked? Digital digital mobile telephony for voice communication has done well. Other efforts have been less successful. Delivering internet services to rural India is difficult precisely because rural India is underdeveloped, right? But to overcome that with the points is tightly focused corporate efforts have succeeded the best. Small non-profit efforts required constant subsidies and cannot scale. Hybrid effects that's like hybrid effects hybrid effects that's like public private for profit private for non-profit have also not taken off. The government effects have had some impact but suffer from incentive problems. Right now, let's see the challenges to develop rural areas in India. The scarcity of organizational and managerial skills, it's a major challenge. Why? Because the managerial skills is required to develop a rural areas. Why? Because the urban areas, the most of the people are, you know, they are fit for the urban areas, but in rural development, it's very much difficult, right? It's a major challenge. The next one, lack of physical infrastructure. Government simultaneously overbearing and inefficient, newness of market, limitations of existing software applications. We have different set of softwares is there, but it's up to a limit, right? Because it has to spread over their wings in rural areas. Then the areas can be developed automatically. Now, what are the different opportunities in rural development sector with respect to IT science? The latent demand has been demonstrated. Falling costs of technology hardware, scaling up to spread fixed costs. Opportunities. Now, e-commerce. You know about e-commerce. E-commerce in the sense it's just a trading sector, means the buying and selling operations are made in e-commerce, right? Now, there are two different types, the major two different types, we can say. That is B2B and B2C. What is B2B? The business to business and business to consumer. In business to business, still is still very limited, restricted to larger firms. But in B2C is a large in absolute terms, but a very restricted slice of the economy, means the upper income and urban consumers. Travel is by far the biggest segment. Attention economy, that's like time versus money. Infrastructure challenges in e-commerce with respect to IT. So first one is payment system. You know about very famous e-commerce website like a Flipkart. If you buy something and then it redirects to orders page by in orders page to payments page. In the payments page, one user interface is there, and then whenever you are giving all the details, it just transfers to third party vendor, and then it redirects when the payment is success, it redirects to your home page, right? Now we need the maintaining of payment system is very much difficult in e-commerce. Why? Because a large number of people are doing orders, are making orders, right? Even second by second, right? So the payment system is making the payment system is very difficult. Now, next one is logistics. Logistics in the sense, just we are getting a data, right? But in here in infrastructure challenges, the logistics is nothing but when the user logins and then what are the different operations he performs and when the log out all the information maintains with the help of log files, that is logistics, and then it has to maintain what is that order and the tracking details too. That is a very big challenge, right? The next one is broadband. By providing the infrastructure for e-commerce, it takes a huge amount of internet and huge amount of data to transfer one place to another place, right? So it has very big broadband services. It's also a major challenge. The next one is market access, means a small urban enterprises and rural handicrafts producers, means from from they takes small urban enterprises, they take some products and then they showcase it as a somewhat big, then they sold out. This what in commerce happens now. The next sector is manufacturing sector. The manufacturing sector under achiever. It's under achiever, means the national manufacturing policy wants to change it. Name under achiever. Why? Because the ample evidence suggests that IT investment in manufacturing have high payoffs. But actually, IT investment is limited. Why? Because of the lack of management quality and the lack of appropriate products for domestic market, lack of awareness or knowledge, infrastructure constraints, coordination failures, and financial constraints. Where should government policy focus? There are two different things. One is business environment for all manufacturing. They are mainly focusing on labor laws, company law, and financial sector reforms. At the same point of time, the IT specific policies are focusing on tax treatment, infrastructure, knowledge dissemination, standard setting by the government. The next vector is e-government. The general problem of governance is the corruption and poor implementation. Right now, what is how we can overcome this one means the two complementary areas for IT as a tool for improving governance. One is internal system and processes and citizen government interfaces. Means that they are maintaining the transparency between the citizen and the government by using some interfaces. There the IT comes into picture. Now, if one has to prioritize, probably the backend is more necessary. Right? For example, some product is developed and in India or any state, one product has developed, but definitely the backend support the government is necessary. Right? Now, what can IT achieve in e-governance means the transparency and monitoring the leading and more accountability. They have to maintain the accountability. Accountability in the sense we already discussed about that one. Means when the user logged in and then what are the different operations performed and when they log out and then in between all the things are monitored by the government, right? For example, if you take an Aadhaar card, in by using that Aadhaar card or PAN card and any identity proof, we are taking some loans. But in government sector, they are monitoring what are the different loans and with different banks. They are still monitoring it one by using a single identification number. That is the power of IT. Now, reducing transaction costs and improving responsiveness and better targeting. The Indian government policies are ambiguous targets for nationally governance, some piecemeal improvements. Let's conclude this session with the summary. Theoretical reasons to consider IT as special, plausible case for giving it attention even in poor economy. ITBPO is continuing success story. Yes, rural adaptation of IT has been mixed bag. E-commerce is a fledgling sector, but with high potential. Thank you.